Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be completing the heavy machine bench. The first thing that I did after I glued up the surface is I trimmed the edges to their final length. So I went ahead and squared up the edges. After squaring up the edges, I started the process of flattening the top surface of the table. Now, the tabletop was relatively flat after all the work that I had done on the initial beam and straightening it out. And if you go back to video 1, you can see that. And I used that beam as a reference point for the remainder of the glue-ups that actually made the top. But still, there were pieces that were protruding above the others, and I needed to flatten it out. So I used a power planer, and it enabled me to remove all of the high spots and yield a relatively flat surface. Once I had removed all of the high areas on the tabletop, I moved on to sanding the top. I really enjoy using the Porter Cable belt sanders, and here I'm using an 80 grit belt. And belt sanders remove a lot of material very quickly as long as you keep the belt sander moving and don't stay stationary. You should not have any problems using it to end up with a very smooth surface. And really all I'm doing with the belt sander at this point is removing the planing marks, the marks and marring that was left by the power planer. And then as soon as I finished using the belt sander and I had removed all of the planing marks, then I moved on to using my orbital sander. I started out with an 80 grit pad on my orbital sander, and then I moved down to a 120 and then finished out with a 220. All I'm trying to do with the orbital sander is remove the scratches that are left by the belt sander. When I finished the orbital sanding, I moved on to applying a finish. I have really enjoyed the polycrylic finish by Minwax, and here I'm using a matte finish polycrylic, and I ended up putting on 4 coats of the polycrylic finish. Although I didn't need all the time, I ended up allowing the polycrylic to cure out for 4 days before I hoisted the machines up onto the table. Thanks for joining me today for part 3 of this video series where I built a heavy machine table to support my Grizzly mill and lathe combo and my other metalworking machines. It's been a real neat project. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. Be sure to give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel to be notified when I post future content. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.